I lay down the path of Ra and was illuminated. What's the path of Ra? Maybe I should try a search and see what Sydney has to say about Ra. In my arduous search, I was trying to hack away with my sword through the dense vegetation of the woods like some pawn of destiny. I wanted to reach the place of the sleeping beauty, in which some poets can see the queen of a lost kingdom. Desperate to find the way, I laid down the path of Ra and was illuminated.
So the riddle mentions a queen of a lost kingdom. The queen is symbolic for the black sun. So in the riddle, the kingdom is symbolically talking about the Holy Grail. We all need to get to the Holy Grail, people, and it's just so clear as day that everyone need to see this stuff.
I lay down the path of Ra and was illuminated. This riddle is fascinating. You can almost see what it's hinting at. I really want to solve it. I was further aided by the parchments of my friend. They murmur of the lady. Long ago, her name was Isis, queen of the benevolent springs.
So you all need to understand that ISIS is the black hole sun, just like with the military group. See how they wear all black? It's all symbolic for the black hole sun. So as the benevolent springs was mentioned, just like when you drink spring water, right, at home, everyone drinks spring water, and it's all symbolic for the 4 living rivers that come together, that flow through the Garden of Eden and meet at the Holy Grail, and they all form as one. They come as like a whole, and they become the living water. So we have to drink from the living waters at the Holy Grail.
Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Others knew her as Magdalene with the celebrated vows of healing balm. The initiated knew her to be the Lady of the Lake and Notre Dame de Cross.
So we look at the Garden of Eden. You see that body of water? That body of water that surrounds that rock at the center is the living waters. So as they mentioned, the Lady of the Lake. So what they're talking about is the living waters. It's the black hole sun that's beneath the Holy Grail. She's the Lady of the living waters that we have to drink from to get our immortality, so that we can achieve everlasting life to bring forth heaven on earth for the benefit of all. So it's all symbolic for the black sun and the living waters. It's the Lady of the Lake.
The circle is the ring, and the crown forms the diadem of the queen of the castle.
So as she had mentioned, the queen of the castle, now, if you look up castles on a map, you will see that the castle is always at the center. Why isn't that? Because it's all symbolic for the black hole sun at the center of this matrix. So as she mentioned the ring is the Holy Grail where the black sun resides at, beneath that hole at the center of this matrix. We're living on a disc. And we just need to get to the Garden of Eden where the Holy Grail is, where the black sun is. It's clear.
I was further aided by the parchments of my friend. I wonder if they're referring to the parchments, the ones Saunier found. The Queen's Guard is the Quaternity, they who stand watch over the Guardian. I look to the north and the west, then the south and the east, and everywhere I see them, their shining swords held out to meet each other. Saint Michael and his brothers with their feet rooted in the earth, they surround the Is that none may harm her, and stand pressed against her in a way that Pythagoras would have approved.
So she says they stand out with their swords facing each other. Now, it's all symbolic that, they're all facing the Holy Grail. And as she mentions, the brothers, right? So what they're talking about is the 4 living rivers. The brothers are the 4 living rivers, the north, south, east, and west. The 4 brothers that protecting the guardian, which is it's the black hole sun at the center of Eden, where we all need to get to. And as he says, right, they meet. So the 4 living rivers come together and they meet at the Holy Grail. It's all in plain sight.
In the sanctuary is the font, fountain of love of those who believe.
So the sanctuary is the Garden of Eden, and as he mentions, the fountain of love, the font, is the living waters where we have to drink from to get our eternal life at the Holy Grail. So it's all talking about the Garden of Eden and the living waters.
Reminding us of these words, "By this sign you will conquer." I understand this now. The four are the stuff of the alchemist's laboratory, and their cant reflects the light in harmony with their queen. And yet the angels hold tight the secret of the angle that is the key to the kingdom.
So she mentions the number 4 like the 4 living rivers that come together and meet at the Holy Grail. So if you connect the dots, the angle is a tilted square, like squaring a circle. And as she mentions, right, they protecting the secret of the angle, and that secret is the Holy Grail at the center of the square. It's all in the plain sight, people. We need to get to the Garden of Eden, where the Holy Grail is.
My friend knows the secret, but wisely he hides the fruit among the chaff, that the treasure not be lost to the infidels. The mosaic tiles of the sacred place alternate black or white, and Jesus, like Asmodeus, observes their alignment.
The mosaic tiles is symbolic for the flat earth. The sacred place is symbolic for the Holy Grail, the black hole that's at the center of this flat earth plane that we're living in. So the riddle mentions black or white. The black is symbolic for the black sun, and the white is symbolic for the sun. So it's the sun above our head, the black hole sun beneath our feet. We're living on a flat earth plane. It's one side of a light hole is a black hole, just like the division symbol. The sun at the top, the black sun at the bottom, the 2 dots.
I can find 64 stones of the perfect cube, which the knights of the beauty of the black wood had scattered when they fled from the white fort, while they were being pursued by the usurpers. Reassemble the scattered stones and, working with square and compass, put them into ranks. The knightly order of the perfect cube fits within and gives structure to Our Lady's protector, the heavenly quartet.
So the riddle mentions working with square and compass. The square is symbolic for the flat earth, and the compass is symbolic for the Garden of Eden, including the living waters. So the riddle mentions the perfect cube that fits within. And the perfect cube is symbolic for the sun placing his menstrual light inside the Holy Grail at the center of our flat earth plane that we're living on. We need to get to the Holy Grail, people. The sun places his light inside the hole so that we can exit this matrix. So the riddle mentions the heavenly quartet. And the quartet is symbolic for the 4 great living rivers that we have to drink from to get our eternal life. It comes clear, people. We need to get to the Holy Grail. We need to get to Eden.
The mosaic tiles of the sacred place alternate black or white, and Jesus... The mosaic tiles of the... I visit the tomb of the celebrated painter Poussin and, like the shepherds, puzzle at the enigma of the tomb. My brain pounds, the light burns my eyes. It is all too mixed up to tell. Teniers, too, has dipped his brush in the earth, and his at the innermost places of the queen.
So she mentioned dipping the brush in the earth. Now, symbolically, what she's really talking about is the sun that's above her head, placing his menstrual light inside the Holy Grail where the black sun is at. She's beneath the hole. It's one side of a light hole is a black hole.
Here is the sign that Teniers has given in his innocent recluse. Surely there is a path between the two.
So as she mentioned that there's a path between the two, like the division symbol, like it's one side of a light hole is a black hole, but the true path is the Holy Grail at the center of Eden, where the living waters are, where we need to get get our eternal life. It comes clear, it's one side of a light hole is a black hole. Get to the Holy Grail.
16 form the center, and the center forms 16. I pray to St. Paul for direction, and he answers with a simple gesture. Here is the reconstruction to which so many noble minds were dedicated. I look to the book of the hermit for reassurance. The numbers they give me confirm the truth. What strange mystery is concealed in the new Temple of Solomon, built by the children of St. Vincent? And still, my task has not ended. Still, a bit of curtain blocks the light. Something must complete the message. Something which will give us entry into the abyss.
So she mentioned the abyss, and the abyss is clearly a black hole, a bottomless pit. Now there's a black hole at the center of this flat earth matrix that we're living in. Now if you want to gain entry into that abyss, all you have to do is spill your blood of your intent. Write on a piece of paper, I intend to bring forth heaven on earth for the benefit of all. Place your blood on it, publish it to YouTube, and you will gain the eyes to see. You will gain, entry into the black hole. You will gain immortality. You will gain everlasting life. It's that simple. Your blood is the key. You need to understand that.
Truth and falsehood battle in my head until I hear their message. It is the number of our patron sky traveler and that of a famous seal. The soul of the matter is evident to me now. At the intersection of the many, I lay down one rigid arm, and the others scatter around the crown like jewels. At last, the queen is adorned for her coronation.
So as she mentions the intersection of the many now, the intersection is symbolic for the living waters, like the four great living rivers that had to come together and meet at the Holy Grail. And once they come together and meet, they become the living waters. Now, as she said that a rigid arm, now, we take a look at the Garden of Eden, right? If you see that candy cane line, it's a straight line. Rigid means to unable to bend, meaning that it's a straight line. So, the rigid arm is symbolic for the menstrual light that the sun had to place inside the living waters at the Holy Grail, at the center of Eden. As I once said before, the intersection is the living waters that we had to drink from. So as the riddle mentions, at last the queen was adorned for a coronation. Now, if you don't know what a coronation is, it's the picture on your right. So if you look at that picture, right, and if you look at the crown and the queen herself, you can see that symbolically the crown is the Holy Grail, the black hole. You can see it on the picture on your left. And the queen herself is representing the black hole sun that's beneath the crown. So it all makes sense, people. We're living on a flat plane. The black hole sun is at the center of this matrix, at the center of the flat earth. So as again, the crown is the black hole and the queen herself is the black hole sun.
3 is the Trinity and the separation of the spheres. The 3 which are the 4 are the divisions of the temple.
So the riddle mentions the Trinity and the 3 spheres. Now, you all can see it, right? The sun is symbolic for the sun that's above our head. The Father is symbolic for the moon. God is symbolic for the black hole that's at the center of this flat earth plane. The Holy Spirit is symbolic for the black hole sun. So the riddle mentions the 3, which are the 4, are the divisions of the temple. If you think about that, just like how the 4 living rivers divide the 4 islands at the Garden of Eden. So the divisions are the 4 living rivers, the living waters at that. And as they mentioned, the temple is symbolically, it's talking about the Holy Grail. So symbolically, the temple is the Holy Grail that we all need to get to. We need to drink from the living waters at the Garden of Eden, where the Holy Grail is. It's that simple.
I began my journey in the shadows and completed it in the light. I had marked the site at last, there in the center of the most sacred space. At the summit of the mountain, the place stood out in the brilliance of the midday sun. It was guarded by the 3 knights' towers, the rooks, on the circuit of the divine horsemen of the abyss.
So the riddle mentions the place stood out in the brilliance of the midday sun. The key word is the place. The place is symbolic for the black hole at the center of this flat earth plane. Why do you think that everyone know about the hollow earth? Well, they think that it's a hollow earth because of the black hole at the center of this flat earth matrix. The black hole stands out more than anything. So the riddle talks about these 3 towers guarding this place. Now, the 3 towers is symbolic for the sun, the moon, and the black hole sun. And we need to get to the Holy Grail. They're guarding the Holy Grail that we all need to get to before we are dead. So the riddle mentions the divine horsemen of the abyss. Now you take a look at what the abyss is. It's a bottomless pit, a black hole. Just like there's a black hole at the center of this flat earth plane that we're living in. The horsemen, the divine horseman, is symbolic for the black hole sun. The black hole sun is beneath the black hole of the bottomless pit. And don't forget that the abyss is the Holy Grail. We need to get to the Holy Grail, people, before we are dead.
At the window of the ruined house, I looked across the trees denuded by autumn. Close to me, a presence, its feet in the water, like one who has just received the mark of baptism. I recalled the inscription, Et in Arcadia ego, blank, blank, blank. Through some selfish inspiration, I found the missing three. The dust settled, and I saw at last. Curses, I know the truth. He is there, dead. The broken bread lies forgotten beneath the altar.
So the riddle says he is there dead. The broken bread lies forgotten beneath the altar. So the altar symbolically is the flat earth and the broken bread and the dead man, which would be that black casket as you see on the picture on your right. So the broken bread and the black casket is symbolically talking about the black hole sun. The black hole sun lies beneath the flat earth. So as they said it right, the broken bread lies beneath the altar. They're talking about the black sun that's beneath the flat earth. It's one side of a light holds a black hole.
But the worst is yet to come. How many have pillaged the house, using the most sacred for purposes most foul? I turn north. Facing me, I see unwinding endless by its coils, the enormous red serpent mentioned in the documents, rigid and bitter.
The red serpent that was mentioned in the riddle is symbolic for the menstrual light that the sun had to place inside the living waters. As his menstrual blood gets mixed with the living waters, it gets spiraled down like a coil to the black hole sun. And it comes to show that it's the black hole sun eating the sun.
The huge unleashed beast at the foot of the white mountain becomes scarlet with greed and drunk with stolen and profaned communion. Deliver me out of the mire.
The riddle mentions the huge unleashed beast at the foot of the white mountain. The unleashed beast is symbolic for the black sun, and the foot of the white mountain is symbolic for the flat earth. So the black sun is beneath the earth is what they're talking about. So the riddle mentions, deliver me out of the mire. The mire is symbolic for the matrix. And deliver me out like the black hole sun will birth us out of this reality that we're living inside of. We all need to get to Holy Grail to get birthed out. It's clear that the black hole sun is at the center of this matrix, where the Holy Grail is.
I am aware of the scent of the perfume which impregnates the sepulchre of the one I must release, cursing the profane in their ashes, and those who follow their ways, returning from the darkness while making the gesture of horror at the abyss into which I had plunged.
So the riddle mentions the sin which impregnates the sepulchre of the one I must release. Now, the sin is symbolic for the sun placing his menstrual light, his menstrual blood inside the Holy Grail, the hole, the black hole. And the sepulchre will be like the black sun. So the sun is impregnating the black sun with his menstrual light. So in the riddle, the abyss was mentioned again. And you can see that the abyss is a black hole. It's the Holy Grail. So the abyss is symbolic for the black hole that's at the center of this flat earth plane that we're living inside of. It is the Holy Grail.
Here is the proof that I knew the secret seal of Solomon, and I had visited the secret places of the queen, who watches over the king. Take heed, my friend. Do not add or take away one iota. Think and think again. The base lead of my words may contain the purest gold. Let he who has the understanding use it with wisdom. That's the last page.